Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, a random review, this time of Action Jackson. Now, Action Jackson is a 1988 film directed by Craig R. Baxley. This was his first film he directed. Later on, he would do I Come in Peace, which I love. It's my favorite Dolph Lundgren film. It's one of my favorite films, period. And then did Stone Cold, a great Brian Bosworth action flick. Before those two, he did this. Now, the way this film came about, Carl Weathers was talking with Joel Silver while they were working on Predator. And it's like, man, being a fan of blaxploitation movies, and you don't see those kind of movies anymore. How about Carl Weathers, who was in the Rocky films, and like I said, Predator? How about he star in a movie that could lead into a franchise? Sadly, that did not happen. This film did not do that bad at the box office. It cost around 7 or 8 million, and it made about 20 million. So it was profitable, and then apparently made a shitload of money on VHS. But I don't get it. Like, it was something about the rights was lost, or something was sold to another company, and then since it got sold, and they didn't want anything to do with it, and it's too bad. I would not have minded seeing this as a series of films. Action Jackson 2, Action Jackson 3. And Carl Weathers, he sadly did not get to star in many movies. I mean, he would be in supporting roles in Happy Gilmore, which I enjoy. He did a couple films with Hulk Hogan, which he was a co-star. The only other thing I could think of that he starred in as the lead was Hurricane Smith, which I haven't seen, but I've heard of. But yeah, sadly, you didn't see... Carl Weathers should have been a bigger star. He should have been a leading man. I'll tell you one thing, this is fucking better than Black Panther. Now, when I first saw this film, I was not big on it, I will admit. Saw this way, way back in the day, and I'm like, I think because the film is pretty goofy at times. It seems pretty goofy to me. And it made me think, is this supposed to be a parody of action films, or is this supposed to be taken seriously? Now, granted, I'm one of the guys that absolutely love Commando and didn't bother me at all in that. But when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, a car's coming at him and he flips over it. And Craig T. Nelson's the villain and he's doing martial arts. Like the guy from Poltergeist, he's a kung fu master. What the fuck? But watching it again, I didn't have much problems with it. This was a fun time watching it again. I had not seen this film fucking forever. And by the way, I like these type of DVD cases, these snapper cases, because it makes it feel sturdy. Yeah, I like, having pictures right here. But yeah, if you're a fan of action films of the 80s and you've never seen it, this is well worth a look. The cast alone, I mean, it's produced by Joel Silver. You have a guy who directed I Come in Peace and Stone Cold, two great movies. And I would put those two above this, but this is still a fun one. But look at this cast. You have Carl Weathers as the lead. You have Vanity, where she was a singer, and she was in quite a few films at that time. You have Sharon Stone, which you see right there. Craig T. Nelson from Poltergeist, he's your main villain. You have appearances by Thomas F. Wilson, Biff from Back to the Future. Robert Davi, who had a small role in Die Hard and Predator 2. He had a bigger role in Maniac Cop 2 and Maniac Cop 3. Great character actor. Sonny Landham makes an appearance in this, and Bill Duke is in this as the captain, who once in a while chews out Carl Weathers' character. So it was a nice Predator reunion. Carl Weathers, Sonny Landham, Bill Duke in the same movie. Even at the very beginning of the film, you have Edo Ross, he was the villain in Red Heat, the main villain, and he was in Universal Soldier as the colonel guy who Dolph Lundgren shoots in the eye through the guy's glasses. You have this woman named Mary Ellen Trainor. She was the mom in The Goonies. She had small roles in Die Hard, Lethal Weapon. Al Leon makes an appearance in this. Of course, he was in Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. He was the guy who tortured Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon. Shock Therapy. Brian Libby, who is the main villain in Silent Rage, he's in there as one of the henchmen of Craig T. Nelson. There was another guy who I thought was Richard Norton, but he's actually the guy in Die Hard who had the sort of, I don't know if Texan accent, but the terrorist in Die Hard, he's the guy who took over the front desk and at one point talked with Reginald VelJohnson. Yeah, oh, I got $50 on those assholes when he's watching the TV. So if you watch a lot of 80s movies, there's a lot of recognizable people in this. Even this pool hall where these three guys beat up on Carl Weathers, I recognize those three guys. One's Miguel Nunez Jr., who's in Return of the Living Dead, Friday the 13th Part 5, Juana Man. One, I believe, is the guy who Arnold kills in Commando, where he kills him on the plane and says, "Don't disturb my friend, he's dead tired." He's the dead tired friend. And then the third guy, I believe he's a guy who I remember from the Katie and Beverly Hills, who is chasing our heroes. Come on, football player! Come on, quarterback! He has his big-ass gun shooting. And at one point, he's shooting the flamethrower at our two lead heroes in the Katie and Beverly Hills. He's been in a lot of other films, too. Again, if you watch a lot of action movies, you'll recognize a lot of people in this. And the beginning starts out with a bang, as well as some weirdness, because Errol Ross, like I said, he was the villain in Red Heat. Mary Ellen Trainor, she was the mom in The Goonies, among other films. They get attacked by these people that move so quick. For a split second, like, is this a supernatural movie? Like, they're moving quicker than ninjas. They're moving quicker than ghosts. I mean, but I guess that's the point. They're quick. But almost like, is this an X-Files episode? Like, type of quick. Fucking the woman gets punched right in the face and blasts right through a window. They chase Errol Ross. They throw a knife, stick his hand to a door. And then he's right by a window. They shoot a grenade launcher. Boom. Dead body on fire. Blast through the window. Dead body falls through the top of the building to the bottom. Lands on the bottom. People scream. Cut the credits with he turned me out, a song by the Pointer Sisters for our opening credits, and the film takes place in Detroit. And, I mean, the plot, are you really going to this for the plot? Carl Weathers, he's a cop who's got demoted long ago because he messed with Ray T. Nelson's kid. I love the line where Bill Duke says, "You could have torn that kid's arm off." And then Carl Weathers goes, "He had a spare." And Craig T. Nelson has this group of people killing folks one by one because he wants to rise in power with the union in Detroit. And he also deals with these cars. And he, guy wants more power. Craig T. Nelson has a wife played by Sharon Stone. And then he also has a mistress played by Vanity. And you get to see both those women's titties. So that's another plus. You get to see Vanity's titties. And you do get to see a little bit of Sharon Stone's titties. So this film is tittylicious. Titties. It's got explosions, it's got some fist fights. I will say one thing for the first hour of the movie, I would like to have seen more action from Jackson. Because in the first hour, there's action, but there's not a lot of stuff that Action Jackson particularly does in the first hour. Like, really in the first hour, the stuff that Action himself does, very limited. At least in I Come in Peace and Stone Cold, yeah, the hero kicks some ass at the beginning, like Dolph Lundgren stopping the robbery and kick him in the face. Stone Cold, the great scene in the supermarket. Would have been nice to see that at the beginning, like show what Action Jackson's made of at the beginning. But that's like just a little complaint. But again, the first time I saw this, this was sort of me thinking, is this a parody? This seems like pretty goofy. But again, watching this again, it brought some smiles to my face and entertainment value. And that's after the opening credits. This young guy is in Detroit, and he tries to steal this woman's purse, but the woman beats the shit out of this guy. And then these two cops, one of them is Thomas F. Wilson, again, Biff from Back to the Future. They get him in there. And this kid, he's not a tough kid. He's scared. He's shy. Doesn't seem like a bad guy at all. But just, guy screwed up. And Thomas F. Wilson, the other guy, they're telling these big over-the-top stories about Action Jackson. And, oh, he was made in a lab. And, oh, man, this one guy, he made his testicles climb right back into his body and they never came out again. I needed some fun lines of dialogue. Like before they pick the kid up, one of them goes, this guy, he must have gone to college for 4 years to reach the level of shit for brains. And then they bring him to the police station. The kid tries to escape and he runs into and accidentally spills the coffee of Action Jackson. And Carl Weathers just goes mellow out. And the kid literally faints. And then, again, the first time I saw this, I went, is this like Student Bodies or Scary Movie or Naked Gun version of an action movie? Although I do love Loaded Weapon 1 with Emilio Estevez and Sam Jackson. That's a great one. But that's why it kind of, the first time I saw it, I was kind of off-put by it. But it's entertainment value. Watch it again. It's for fun. It was cool. I like Bill Duke as an actor. It's cool to see him team back with Carl Weathers, and again, he's the captain. Might have torn the boy's arm off. He had a spare. Craig T. Nelson, his wife is Sharon Stone. Once in a while, you have a bit of weirdness, like these bad guys take on these other guys on this boat. And before that happens, we have this guy just keep telling these jokes about, okay, a man with no arms and no legs who is in the water. And the guy mentions one name. Okay, a man with no arms and no legs, but he's on the beach. Oh, Mike, a man with no arm and no legs. Again, it's like he keeps repeating that, but then a different location. Again, certain weirdness factor sometimes in this movie. And then these people get killed. And they kill the main guy on this boat by handcuffing a suitcase bomb on him. So then, nice explosion of blowing up the boat. Granted, they could have just knocked him out and threw the suitcase there, but no. Literally just handcuff his arm to the suitcase that has a bomb in it. They get out and boom, it explodes. Like I said, nice explosion of the boat. Carl Weathers meets with Robert Davi's character, who he's not in the film too much, but he did a really nice job of being this stressed out, profusely sweating type of guy. Gives him some info, which leads to Vanity, who is a senior. She's addicted to heroin. Although, for a heroin addict, she looks pretty fucking nice. I will say, she's a very sexy lady. That's the best looking heroin addict I've ever seen in my life. And she's the mistress of Crazy Nelson. And you see them titties, gives her a gift, and I'm thinking it's a diamond, it's a necklace, opens it up, it's a syringe with heroin. So again, sort of like, romantically gives her a needle with drugs. I kind of appreciated the weirdness of the film watching it again. And, I'll go on more with the spoilers, but at the end of the day, it does have the bang for your buck. I mean, you get some car chases, nice blood squibs, practical blood squibs, fisticuffs, some fun side characters, like the guy who kept fainting, but then eventually becomes friends with Action Jackson. I thought he did fine. This friend of Carl Weathers' character who owns this hotel. It's actually the guy from Weird Science, the really deep voice, and the Family Jewels. That guy, he's in this. That was fun, and he becomes an ally. And also this big guy who's sort of a bodyguard to Vanity. Like, he's big, but he talks very intelligently and calmly. And he's like getting his medical license. What was it, like his medical license? And so I like that it's kind of playing off some cliches as well. Like Bill Duke, he's not just the typical yelling officer. He's also talking about how his wife is making him do parcheesi or something. He's talking with Carl Weathers. Or like the big heavy guy who's the bodyguard of Vanity. He's not just a tough, I'm going to fuck you up. He's talking very calmly and in a very intelligent manner. And he shares a fun scene with Carl Weathers the first time they meet, where he goes something about, what was the line of dialogue? But if you slap my little body through that wall. I was thinking about it. Okay. Then slaps a guy right through a door. Or another guy that was recognizable, a guy named Nicholas Worth, who you remember as Swamp Thing and Darkman. He played a killer in a film called Don't Answer the Phone. He makes an appearance in this as well. So again, a lot of recognizable people. A lot of fun. Again, my only issue watching again, the score is okay. Once in a Blue Moon, it seems a little bit reminiscent of the Lethal Weapon score. Like Once in a Blue Moon. I can't really say it's a memorable score. Like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, other scores, they seem more. I keep using the word memorable, but I can't even remember the score now I think about it. I would say I like the song by the Pointer Sisters better. The songs by Vanity, I'm not really a big fan of her songs. Just not my cup of tea. And again, wouldn't I like the first hour? I would like to see more of Action Jackson himself kicking a bit more ass. Again, maybe an opening that shows he can, or early on, showing us what he's capable of, like a little taste of it. Like he doesn't really kick much ass in the first hour, but definitely does in the third hour, which is nice. But getting more into spoilers starting now. Craig T. Nelson, he does a good job as the villain. I don't buy him as a karate master. I think there's a scene where he's fighting a guy. I believe the guy's name is James Liu. I think he's the same guy that was fighting Van Damme in Time Cop in that knife fight. And Van Damme's apartment. And they're both going at each other with these little knives. I just don't buy Craig T. Nelson as a martial artist guy. But villain-wise, he does a very nice job. Definitely a cold motherfucker. When he kills Sharon Stone because she knows too much, he just throws the gun and it's like, it works. Works just fine. And doesn't even blink an eye and killing his own wife. What do you want from me? I want you to die. Sounds like a James Bond line. It was a James Bond line. I don't want you to talk, I want you to die. But yeah, it has some nice car chase where Carl Weathers on top of a taxi cab, and you have some explosions rocking about. And then the over the top thing where Carl Weathers gets in front, he jumps over the car, and then nice flip, the car flips over and slams into a building. There's a fun scene where he beats up Miguel Nunez and the other two guys in this pool table hall. Before that, he makes them let down their guard by pretending he's crazy from Bellevue. And let me lay my healing hands upon you, and breaks a guy's bottle in his own hands. What was the other thing? Also has some dialogue you would never hear today. Like Vanity is trying to get Carl Weathers to sleep with her, and she's like, "Well, either you're a cop or you're a queer." And Carl Weathers goes, "Well, I'm no queer." You will never hear that dialogue in an action movie at the end. Never. In this day and age of PC, using words like queer, you will never, ever hear that again. Which I hate to be bearer of bad news. People talk like that. Whether you think it's right or wrong, people talk like that. So to me, it's fine putting it in the movie. Because it's just a movie. I also enjoyed the fight that Carl Weathers has with Sonny Landham. Really nice stunt where Sonny Landham's character gets thrown out of one window, across a building, into another window. And if you're wondering how that happens, check out the film and see why. It's a pretty good stunt. Pretty good stunt work. At the beginning, all these terrorists get at this function that Craig T. Nelson's holding, and he wants to assassinate this guy. Well, before that, I should get to when Carl Weathers gets captured, because it has my favorite line in the movie. The big guy who's the bodyguard of Vanity helps him out. And some really cool stuff. You get this flamethrower thing. Carl Weathers blows up this guy who's holding a gas can. Him and Vanity's bodyguard are being chased by a bad guy with a grenade launcher. Practical explosions right behind our characters. Really well done work by the stuntmen. And then they get the grenade launcher, and Carl Weathers tosses the guy, "You want to make a barbecue, huh? How do you like your ribs?" Just blows the guy away. Nothing left. "How you like your ribs?" That's pretty damn awesome. Pretty damn awesome. Again, it would have been nice to see some more of that in the first hour of the film. That's my only gripe, really. Other than, again, some of the weird stuff like, Peter Wilson, do I buy him as a martial artist, kung fu master guy? But I mean, I have to think there was some sense of humor going about. I mean, the ending is Carl Weathers gets in a car, red car, drives right into the house, drives right around through the house, get into the bedroom, and then has a fisticuff with Craig T. Nelson, who's kung fu kicking Carl Weathers in the face. And then Carl Weathers goes, "Now you pissed me off," and just beats the fuck out of Craig T. Nelson. They both go for the guns, kills Craig T. Nelson. Beautiful blood squib. It's another thing you won't see nowadays, especially in a film that goes to theaters. Just a beautiful practical blood squib. Very well done. Everything's fine. It ends fine. Happily ever after. Sadly, no sequel. It did well on VHS. It made money in the theaters. Like I said, it was $7 to $8 million budget. Made $20 million. I can't remember what exactly they said, but something about the rights. The rights were sold, or the rights went from one place to another. For some reason, I remember hearing that Lorimar at one point had this, and then it got sold to Warner Brothers or something. I can't remember. Because Warner Brothers is at the beginning of this movie, so unless they put it in after. And I don't even know if this film's out on Blu-ray. Because this is, now that I realize it, this is a standard version. I think this is full screen. I can't remember. I don't know if there's a widescreen version of this. But yeah, this is another film that I wonder if we'll ever get a special edition Blu-ray, because I think this does have a cult following. It's definitely a title people recognize. And because there's so many recognized people, I guarantee you Carl Weathers would talk about the film. I guarantee you Trader Baxley would talk about the film. He was willing to talk about I Come in Peace. I wish there was a commentary on that, and that deserved a lot more features, but at least there's something on it. But yeah, fun movie, entertaining film. If you like 80s action movies, if you've never seen this, give it a look. I'm not going to call it one of the best. It's not my top 10 favorite 80s action films. Like I said, I think it needed more action from Action Jackson himself in the first hour. Whether more gun battles or more fisticuffs or something from Action Jackson. But other than that, fun movie, good cast, entertaining film. So thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.